It's no fucking accident that the idiot Trump family keeps hanging out with Hitler sycophants. And even though Hitler's been dead for damn near 80 years, there's still fucking morons that still praise him for the actions that he took in Germany. Um, Now, Eric Trump is not trying to hide it very well, but he's speaking alongside anti-Semites at a QAnon-linked Klan rally at a Trump resort. Now, late last year, Donald Trump had dinner with a couple of Hitler sycophants, a dinner that he was so honored to host that he greeted it with great pomp and made sure that it was in full view of the regular guests in the dining room of his Mar-a-Lago home. Now, one of the Hitler apologists was was crappy rapper Kanye West, who's a fucking douchebag, whose recent turn to the far right appears related to his well-documented severe mental health issues. The other Hitler sycophant, Nick Fuentes, is a well-known incel troll and the head of the Fascist America First group. Trump's efforts to spin his dinner after the fact were a limp even by his standards, saying he didn't know who Fuentes was, but obviously he was seen taking photos with them, a claim probably no one believed. Sadly, as Heather Digby Parton correctly predicted at Salon, none of this has made a dent in Trump's status with the GOP. Now, if anything, Republican voters keep Klan rallying to his side for no reason whatsoever, and predictably pleased that Nazi snuggling has the liberal triggering effect that they crave. The likely answers to the question here, posited by Rachel Maddow on her MSNBC show Monday night. How is it that Trump's ugly-ass son, Eric, and a number of other figures in the Trump orbit are going ahead with an event this weekend that prominently features Hitler-friendly speakers? As Maddow pointed out, both MSNBC and Media Matters have spent months highlighting that particular event that was scheduled for May 12th and 13th at the Trump National Doral Resort in Miami. After Trump's famous dinner with the Hitler sycophants, he and his people seem to have decided that there's no political downside to being seen rubbing shoulders with the Mein Kampf crowd. And no doubt many will dismiss this characterization as an exaggeration, which is one way Trump will get away with this stuff. But no, the speakers for this We Awaken American event, which was co-founded by former Trump aide and current QAnon celebrity Michael Flynn, who's a douchebag anyway too, really are that terrible. Podcaster Scott McKay told his audience last year Hitler was actually fighting the same people that we're trying to take down today. And he blamed Jews for 9/11, which the Jewish people had nothing to do with 9/11. That was all the Muslim people, and not all Muslims are bad anyway. But right-wing commentator Charlie Ward posted a Hitler speech with the caption, "Hitler was warning us about the ruling class of Freemasonry, Judaism, communism, globalism, race wars, NWO, the cabal, and the bankers." I don't think that's even the case, but in neither case can these be waved off as a one-off, as if that men would excuse it. But Media Matters has lengthy dossiers on both men showing long histories of anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, and championing Hitler as a brave truth-teller, which Hitler was a fucking douchebag. They are scheduled to speak alongside Eric Trump and his ugly-ass wife, Laura. The conference found that Flynn has also promoted anti-Semitism and blamed Jewish victims for their own deaths in the Holocaust, which that was actually Hitler that killed the Jewish people, so... And the tour isn't just about Hitler apologism, of course. As the Anti-Defamation League explains, Reawaken America also features prominent QAnon influencers, anti-vax activists, election fraud conspiracy theorists, the fake Christian pastors, political candidates, and elected officials, a real grab bag of the worst people in the country. And like I said in my earlier video, if you supposedly are a Christian, you cannot support Trump and be a Christian at the same time. It doesn't fucking work that way. Now, for months, Eric Trump's strategy for dealing with this criticism has been to ignore it, and he thinks that he's confident that the same voters who are fine with his dad's dinner with white nationalists would not mind a dessert course of more Hitler praise and Holocaust denial. But after Rachel Maddow's segment Monday night, he suddenly got his feelings hurt. He made an empty lawsuit threat to a favorite tool of his dad's on Twitter. And this is what he said. Maddow is walking a fine line. We are the most pro-Israel family in American political history. No, you're not. From the Abraham Accords, moving the embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights, to sanctioning Iran, no one has done more for Israel. And they try to claim that nobody's done more for Israel than his father, even though his father never did anything for Israel. Now, the note is, she never said he was personally anti-Semitic, even though he is, just that he happily shares top billing with the Hitler's sycophants that have been invited to speak at a hotel owned by his sycophantic family. But no one has rejected the possibility that he's just a shameless opportunist who panders to conspiracy theorists and bigots for money and a political expedience. Now, because now Trump and his ugly ass family supposedly have this money. Now, with his ugly ass kids, if they didn't have fucking money, nobody would fucking marry them because they're butt fucking ugly. I can't tell them from a monkey's ass, and that tells you how ugly they are. Now, Trump might be a little more fussy than usual about this because Maddow made a point to link this hateful far-right rhetoric to the shooting in Allen, Texas over the weekend. Before murdering 8 people at an outlet mall, Mauricio Garcia left a long social media trail documenting his neo-Nazi sympathies, including an SS tattoo. The widespread reporting of Garcia's white nationalist views caused a reflexively defensive reaction on the maggot social media. Mainly, they acted outraged that anyone would impugn the honor of Nazis by suggesting one of them could have shot up a shopping mall. Now Trump's Twitter, with a 1.7 million followers cat turd, suggested the shooting was a psyops and sent gleeful winking GIFs to journalists reporting the white nationalist views of the shooter. Now, Twitter's purchaser and far right troll Elon Musk spent the aftermath of the shooting promoting conspiracy theories meant to discredit the idea that the shooter was a fascist, which he was. Normal people, of course, do not feel defensive when someone points out that Nazis tend to be violent, but for the maggot crowd, the accusation stings in an incredibly personal way. Unsurprising, given that the Hitler apologism on their favorite online channels and featured at their conferences. Now, with the heat turned up, it seems Eric Trump is also feeling a little worried that it might reflect badly on him, helping promote the careers of men who complain about how the Jews helped engineer the takedown of Hitler, and in doing so, it mandated the destruction of Germany. Now, Hitler committed suicide because he knew that he was going to go to jail. Now, mostly, however, the Trumps don't worry over much about being seen with Hitler apologists. Only when cleaning crews are still scrubbing the spilled guts of small children off the sidewalk will you see this temporary bout of concern that all this Nazi stuff might be a bad look for them. The sad thing is that Hitler-looking Eric and Laura Trump are right not to worry. As Rachel Maddow pointed out, this conference is not a secret and it had been covered extensively by Media Matters for months. Now, but it gets almost no pickup in the mainstream media. The likely reason is bleak. Trump's sympathies for white nationalists is old news. We all know that he won't lose support among Republican voters because of it, and since it won't affect polling, the horse race-obsessed press can't bring itself to care. It's this type of silence, however, that the Trumps count on in order to speak to their fascist conspiracy theory-addled base while evading larger accountability in the mainstream discourse. And that's why they get upset when one of these stories does run a chance of breaking through, either because a famous name like Kanye, who's a dumbass who can't rap worth shit, is attached, or there's a new hook like the Allen shooting. It suggests that they do worry that the neo-Nazi talk could lose them support, and maybe not with the vast majority of potential Republican voters, but with enough of them on the margins to lose swing states. Now, otherwise, the Trumps wouldn't spin and threaten lawsuits. The second one of these stories flirts at mainstream coverage. And they're worried that it could hurt them, which is why they want to keep the association with Hitler fanboys in the shadows. So if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. You can also go ahead and leave a comment. You can also go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just a few bucks a video or a month, your donation can help go a long way. And thanks for listening.